evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Alex Flood. Thunder Bay Transit drivers have voted overwhelmingly for a strike mandate as their union heads into conciliation talks with the city. Members of ATU Local 966 voted 96% in favor of the mandate during a vote at the Moose Hall this evening. The union represents 150 transit members, all of whom could begin work to rule-style actions as their union heads into talks with the city, withdrawing voluntary overtime and other practices that go above and beyond requirements. If conciliated talks don't produce an agreement, the union could be in a legal strike position 17 days after a no board report from a conciliator. The timeline surrounding the appointment of a conciliator remains uncertain. And live from the Rock Folk Festival presented Heavy Rotation, a two-day outdoor concert held in two different locations featuring 8 unique acts. Mitchell Ringos reports.
Seasons are changing and this man must change too. You can fight it all you want, but you're gonna change too.
The two-day event had 8 acts, with 4 playing at the Red Rock Marina and the other 4 playing at Mount Baldy's ski area simultaneously. The concert featured artists like Rodney Brown, Gibson Martin and I, Olivia Corcola, and many more.
I said I'd win, and I was just getting ready to roll them again.
In addition to music, the two events had local food vendors, artists and festival merchandise, and even a campfire on site. With this being the second year the regular festival was canceled, live from the Rock Folk Festival chair, Laura Folds talked about why they decided to do a smaller split event this year.
So we kind of thought that it would afford us the opportunity to have people who wanted to come out and maybe, have had some trepidation about getting back into live event attendance, to have lots of space and be really comfortable in the venue. So we went with 2 that are both outdoors, and there's lots of room for people to relax, listen to music. So that's kind of what we were thinking in doing the rotation.
Folds says that people often forget that most time events like these are how these artists make a living, and to finally be able to put on a show once again was a big relief. The artists also just love to be back up on stage in front of a real audience, as we talked to artists Jamie Smith and Cassidy Houston on how it felt to be back.
To be able to put something like this back on, as live performers, we've been kind of chomping at the bit for a couple of years to get back out. So it's been an amazing couple of days for us to experience, and hopefully for the fans as well.
I really like that, they really wanted to keep the people that are watching safe, and they tried to do it in the best way possible. But we got to experience the most out of how they decided to set this up.
Press down faster than a blue tick hound and smoother than the moonshine from my steel.
And with the event only having 100 tickets per venue, it was more of an intimate concert, which the attendees said was an amazing experience, especially with both areas having a beautiful view.
We're chilling out before winter hits, and it's a great, relaxing, everyday thing to do, so it's been fun.
And a wonderful weekend to pull this off, and certainly much needed after a couple years of not being able to attend these kind of events. So
Folds says even though this year's event was fantastic, she hopes that next year for the 20th anniversary, they can get back to their regular full capacity event. Mitchell Ringos, TBT News.
Thunder Bay City Council will be voting on what is likely a formality as they move towards the demolition of Victoriaville Mall. And Council will also hear from the Mayor on the latest in the County Fair encampment situation. Council will vote whether to approve nearly $1.3 million for a detailed design plan on the revamped Victoriaville. A report will also be discussed on the matter that outlines timelines of the project. Physical work will start in 2023 after the design plan is complete. The entire project, fit with the reopened stretch of Victoria Avenue, should be finished in 2025. McKellar Councillor Brian Hamilton is excited the plan accounts for more than just architecture and traffic flow.
Some of the social issues we've seen down here for a long time, and to kind of incorporate and kind of see the area as an entire community, as a whole, and not to make some gentrified, downtown, but we really want to make a really inclusive neighborhood that's really supportive of all the people here.
Also on Monday, Mayor Bill Morrow will be providing an update to Council on a response protocol when there are situations like the Sonny's Gas Bar encampment. He says it will help local agencies be sure there are no gaps left to address when complete. And a special ceremony in Kenora this past week recognized dedication, achievement, and expansion of the Treaty 3 Police Service. The Indigenous Police Force serves in 23 communities within the Treaty 3 region. The welcoming event also served as an opportunity to support a young boy battling cancer to fulfill his dream. Adam Riley reports.
With a complement of 89 officers, the Treaty 3 Police Service continues to grow. Police Chief Kai Liu says in addition to the swearing in of 2 new constables and promotions within the organization, Treaty 3 Police are now branching out with special constables.
It's a new position for us in that they've been hired, or the position's been created to create a support mechanism to our officers on the front lines. And so today we were able to welcome 2 new special constables.
Liu adds Treaty 3 Police is continuing the conversation with both the federal and provincial governments to expand the force to address the needs of the communities they serve. However, Tuesday's ceremony also served as a chance for the service's youngest member, 12-year-old Junior Chief of Police Dion Green, to participate in his new role, a role he still remains a little speechless over.
How does it feel to kind of have your own actual personalized badge that you...
Cool. No.
For much of his life, Green has battled cancer. At age 2, he was diagnosed and beat rhabdomyosarcoma cancer. Then at age 6, he was diagnosed and overcame leukemia. And last year, he was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, a form of bone cancer. His mother, Rachel, says several organizations came forward to help make Dion's dreams come true, including a chance to speak with his hockey idol, Sidney Crosby. But she says this gesture by Treaty 3 Police fulfills her son's dream.
Dion has always wanted to be a police officer ever since he was a baby. He used to buy the toy guns and stuff from Dollarama. He always said he wanted to be a police officer, just like Papa Gary. And some of you know my grandfather, Joseph Fred Thunderbar. He was also a police officer back in the 70s, I believe, Whitefish Bay's first constable.
Our motto is policing the community with our people, and Deanne, or Chief Green, is a member of our community from Shoal Lake 39, and it's a real honor to have him as my partner.
Adam Riley, TBT News.
The Port of Thunder Bay will continue to see reduced grain shipments as the yield from the prairie harvest hits a 10-year low. Local port officials say the grain analysts they deal with are predicting even more reductions, but they have other cargo which will keep the port busy for the rest of this season and beyond. Danielle Bain has the details.
With the monthly grain totals down 30% in September, this trend will likely continue as crop analysts estimate a 30% reduction in crop yield for the rest of the season due to the drought in the prairies, which Port of Thunder Bay Director of Communications Chris Heikkinen says will have an impact on overall cargo numbers.
So that's certainly impacting grain shipments at Thunder Bay and all Western Canadian grain ports this fall and likely into next spring as well until the new crop season hits.
The year-to-date grain shipments are now 5% below average, which Heikkinen says, given the weight of the grain in the port, it will impact the overall cargo volumes for the duration of the season. Heikkinen says with the reduced numbers, they're already looking to diversifying their cargo going into the fall to make up for the lost grain shipments.
Kiefer Terminal has a very good contingent of break bulk shipments coming up this fall and into the winter, as well as more fertilizer. And potash shipments continue to be strong, and they're looking like we're going to see more of that for the rest of the season as well.
Danielle Bain, TBT News.
Confederation College's 26th annual Community Partners Evening, Have a Hoot, took place on Thursday as a drive-through and virtual event. The event is a long-standing tradition in support of Confederation College. This year, the participants got an Italian dinner for 4, along with a vegetarian option made by the college's culinary students. The proceeds went to raise money for scholarships, bursaries, and financial aid for students. Confederation College President Kathleen Lynch says they embraced the changes of making the event virtual last year and had the opportunity to make it even better this year.
The community's really rallied around the virtual aspect of this, and I think for some people they'd like to see us continue a virtual event as well as an in-person event when we can, because not everybody can make it during the evening, and this gives them a chance to support us and participate.
Other than the drive-through, the event also had a Have a Hoot video that premiered online, along with a virtual auction. Well, we had plenty of curling action here in Thunder Bay today. Lots of stuff going on in the NFL as well. Corey Nordstrom will have all of that for you coming up after the break.